Hello, hello. Jeremy, you there?
I am here, yeah.
Okay, we're good. All right. So are we just good to go whenever?
I think so. We shouldn't wait for the okay from Phoenix, though.
Okay.
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
He wants you to
can go
count
ahead and
down.
count down. Yeah,
Oh,
you
okay,
go ahead
okay.
and do that.
All right, I'll start from 3. 3, 2, wait, hold on.
Wait,
He
am
said,
I on the right thing?
is there game audio?
Okay.
It doesn't look like it on OBS.
No? Is there not?
Let me put audio
I don't
on
have
the
the
stream.
stream up, so I can't tell. There isn't. It might be on my end. How about now? Okay,
It
it
says
was
it's
on
fine.
my end. It was on
Yeah.
my end, I think, then. So we're good now.
Okay. All right. Countdown. Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, here we go. So
Okay.
I guess just do the usual stuff.
All right. Sure. So Spora is running this category. Spyro 3 any percent. Very good category. What separates it from the category that you just watched, 100 egg, is that there's a skip that's allowed in this category that is not allowed in 100 egg. And that skip is for the 100 egg door. And so obviously not having to collect 81 of the eggs in the game, it makes the category a lot shorter in length. So the eggs that we do need are the end of level eggs for every single main level in each world. There are 5 in each world, and then we need the boss eggs, and then there's 1 egg that gets forced onto us in Sergeant Bird that we just have to get. So 19 eggs in total, and then we get to Midnight Mountain to make the skip. So Spore is going to be going for a skip that uses a proxy. Dead body proxies, like I explained in the previous run, are when there are hitboxes that allow Spyro to charge through them but not to glide through them. And when Spyro charge jumps and then presses X, he gets a 1-frame glide, and that 1-frame glide, if done correctly, allows him to get pushed out of the hitbox if he's doing it inside the hitbox, and we usually get a lot of height from it. That's the intent. So he did that very well. A lot of the levels in this game were made to wrap around, and so the beginning of the level is very close to the end of the level, just with some barrier. And so if you can get a lot of height, usually because of the non-solid stuff at the top of the levels, you can just get the skip. Or if you can just go over the solid stuff in some cases. So this level uses a jump technique called a momentum conservation jump. And basically what it is you charge and then stop and immediately go into a standard jump, just hold X and hold forward. And it moves the apex of the jump, the top of the jump, further forward. And so you get a longer jump basically, and you can still use the hover appropriately. Where if you were to charge jump, the hover would be kind of nerfed by the fact that there's a hover mechanic where if you're close to the top of your jump, the hover doesn't work properly. So momentum conservation works well there. You can do it with a charge jump, but it's harder in my opinion. So again, like I described in the previous run, I can describe it more in depth now. For 3-dimensional bodies of water, you need to really assume, or you need to consider them as like containers and triggers, rather than actually having volume. And so those triggers exist on the 2-dimensional planes of water as well. And so if you can go out of bounds and get to one of those triggers, then you can also get a swim in air and you won't be contained, which is the issue where you can't get away from the intended body of water. There is no intended body of water in this case, so we're good to go.
Very nice start so far.
Yeah, it looks good. It's been good.
Probably shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, you're screwed now on the Molten Crater entry.
Or the proxy.
Yeah. One thing that's kind of interesting is that if you do gemless runs, this is one of the hard gems to miss, is that octopus that he kills, or hard gems, yeah, I guess to miss is the appropriate way to say it. The octopus or pentapus has 5 tentacles that you kill to free the seal at the end. You have to charge it very specifically to not have the gem home in. So in gemless runs, it's kind of a problem area. Nice.
Heck.
So yeah,
That's
he used
unusual.
a technique called a wall glide to get into Molten Crater, where he put his wing against the wall and kind of rode it a little bit, where it didn't decrease his height as quickly as it usually would have. Interesting proxy.
Yeah, I know. That's the first.
Yeah, and Molten Crater usually requires, what, 10 eggs to enter? I think it's 10 and 14 for Seashell. But we don't need those requirements. Like I said in the previous run, in any percent, we use that to our full advantage. There are so many levels that we should need to get into with certain requirements, usually egg requirements. We really don't need any of them. We just go out of bounds and under and we can enter. So yeah, this category, much faster pace than 100 egg, because we're almost out of sunrise already. Going into Sheila, and he's going to use the same swim and air and out of bounds that he used in the previous sunrise out of bounds that he did. I guess not technically the previous sunrise out of bounds, but the one where he got swim in air to get into Seashell.
I think a lot of this stuff was already discussed like last run. You and Jeremy Nerf.
Yeah, well, fortunately, it allows us to explain it more in depth and more clearly. It's kind of hard to talk and play at the same time, so either we're
Yeah.
playing badly or we're explaining badly, usually, or both. We got a lot of both in that run. So Sheila is the first instance of like relevant RNG. I hit on it a little bit in the previous run when I was talking about Bug and Scorch, but a lot of these enemies are random as well in Sheila, and they're pretty subtly random. It doesn't really lose a lot of time, but the patterns do matter, especially when you get to a high level. And you see similar patterns, but there's one Rhinoc in particular that can lose about a second if you get a bad pattern on, and there's one in the cave as well that can lose about the same. That boost from the buffalo or whatever that animal is actually an advantageous boost if he gets it, which he did.
Yeah, that was
where it
cool.
hits him in the right direction, and so he saves time getting that, which is nice. So that's all we need in Sunrise. Now we just go to the Sunrise boss, which is Buzz. Moose, yeah, okay. Moose. I can buy that it's a moose. I'm gonna defer to Dr. Anson.
See how Buzz plays. He
Yeah,
can be interesting sometimes.
very. So you hit him in the lava as quickly as you can, and once you hit him into the lava, you get as close to where he comes out as you can without having him come on top of you, come out on top of you. And at that point, his buzzsaw attack, which is supposed to chase you all around the arena and be kind of inconvenient to dodge, suddenly it just stops. It's not a threat at all. And then after you turn the camera, the defensive wall of fire that he gets on the middle hits. I think he gets it on hits, 3 and 4. The defensive wall of fire just doesn't spawn. You don't need to do anything to get rid of it other than move your camera.
Looks like he played nice.
That's good. Yeah, it was a very respectable sunrise.
Yeah, that was actually. Besides the stupid boar, which was, I don't even know what that was. That's the first for me. I've never had one do that before.
So going into Midday Gardens, he's gonna go for, you go for Bridge Swim, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he's gonna go for Bridge Swim, which the water that it bobs up and down. It's kind of a subtle bob, but it does bob up and down, and it's on a cycle as you enter Midday Gardens, and so it is consistent. If you get a consistent setup, it's not random water bobbing. So we get bridge swim, and what it is actually is it kind of, you skim above the water, and you push yourself against the totally solid portion of the bridge, and the animation of the water, because the bridge is slanted, it can actually push your head out of it, and you can clip out. So it's a true clip rather than just being non-solid bridge. You actually do clip through the bridge, and if you maintain swim state while you're clipping, if you maintain swim state while you're clipping, you have it out of bounds and you're good to go.
I almost fell out of bounds on that first attempt.
Yeah, that can happen. You just fall and you die. Have to do it again. It's really annoying. Sergeant Bird is a really interesting level. Really, really interesting in my opinion. Probably of the critter levels that we do, most interesting, where there are checkpoints that are very obvious and you have to do, like the broken doors. You can't get through the doors otherwise. So you have to hit those doors. But there are also enemies that are optional that speed up the hummingbird, put her onto a faster path. And there are quite a few optional checkpoints, actually. And you also have to manage the teleport anticipation. So there's a checkpoint that Spora didn't go for with 2 enemies on the left side that would put the hummingbird down to the door earlier and would prevent her from being able to be lost, and it saves about a second. But there are a lot of subtle checkpoints like that in this this level that make it really engaging to me to watch. But it's one of those levels that's, I think it's pretty boring to somebody that doesn't know to look for the checkpoints. But for somebody that does, as a spectator, it's really cool.
Yeah, this run is no longer 24 potential.
I mean, the potential is there still.
I mean, you can say that.
You can do it. I believe.
All right.
Can I get a 1 in the chat from everyone who believes in the 24 this run?
You can bet on it if you like.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
So I've mentioned there are solidity problems. I wouldn't really call them solidity problems, although I just did. But the developers, if they thought that you wouldn't get to a place, they really didn't program solidity to that place. They just put a visual reference there to make it look like something was there. But in most cases, you can just go right through it. So you'll see that a lot in this category, especially. So Spora went for dead body proxies from the crocodiles or alligators, whatever they are. I'm sure Dr. Ansem will.
I suck and didn't get the first one. I got a small one.
Give us the facts.
The second one.
Yeah, but at least you saw what the proxies looked like. A little less than Spora would have liked. Didn't get a skip, but the proxies were there.
Ooh, so weird going in from the back there.
So for reference, at this point, if we were not able to get into the portals early, we'd need 30 eggs to get into this portal, 25 to get into Spooky Swamp, a bunch of gems to get into Sergeant Bird. So this is where you realize how important it is to actually have those level skips, the skips into the levels, that is. If we didn't, it'd be a much longer category, not that much shorter than 100 egg. I think we need like, what, 60 eggs? 50, 59 eggs.
For what?
60. If the only skip that existed was the skip into Sorceress, but no level portal skips, we would need 58 to get into Charm Ridge end of level, Scorch, and then we could get in. Yeah. So 60 eggs instead of 100.
That's where 60 egg runs come from.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I should have gotten that bug. It was a good setup. I'm just bad.
Yeah, it's a tough proxy. It's one of those ones also that, like, if it acted consistently, it wouldn't be that difficult of a proxy, but because it doesn't, and you know it doesn't, you kind of second guess your setup sometimes, and it makes you less consistent than you would be if you were more confident in how it was going to move. Bug's definitely a run killer.
Yep, it is.
Because I think it saves it saves like 15 seconds in this category, so it's pretty important. Hey Waffle, thank you. Well, I guess thank you. I'm for Spora. I don't need luck.
Okay.
So Spora went for a squeeze proxy right there, and then a backup for a charge jump skip. The squeeze proxy you also saw in Bamboo Terrace, and you'll see it again for Helmet Proxy, which is what we use to skip into Sorceress. Again, you just pressure Spyro's hitbox quite a lot, and it pushes into an area with less pressure. That's, in the simplest terms, that's basically what it is. An analogy that I like to use is like a wet soap analogy, like a wet bar of soap, where if you have that in your hands and you squeeze your hands and allow it an escape, it will escape pretty dramatically from your hands. So Spyro's hitbox can be considered pretty similar to that soap.
That's lame. Really?
Oh, are you actually?
Okay.
Did you beat Zeus?
Me? No, I tied him.
Oh, awesome.
This is
That's
shitty.
good.
Okay, that might work. Nope. Damn.
So Icy Peak is a skip that usually we depend on, but in marathons it's notorious for giving people problems. So this is pretty much just par for the course for Icy Peak. You watch any marathon and in all likelihood, Icy Peak gets missed a couple times.
Dude, I quit.
It's a tradition.
This is really bad.
Don't worry about it.
I'm usually good with this too.
Yeah, no, that's how it goes. I remember Toto in the 100 egg race that he did with Sabuma at AGDQ 2014.
And that was just my fault.
Toto was really good at Icy Peak jump and just could not do it in that race.
All right. That was my fault. I don't know. I didn't glide when I should have.
All right, you got it right here.
I see a game over. Yeah. We did. Damn it. That's
okay.
really sad.
It happens. It's a difficult skip. Like, it requires good jump mechanics, and occasionally if you're just a little bit off, a little bit nervous, then it can happen. So
hence why my split name for any percent, my splits, the split names delete this level.
Yeah.
Hate it so much.
At least you got to see one of the best levels in Spyro 3 for a moment, though. The game over screen is Fireworks Factory. My opinion is that that is the best level in Spyro 3. Maybe not in speedruns, but as a casual play.
There, yeah. Well, this run wasn't even that bad until then.
That's okay. So the technique he's using on the stairs is a bunch of jumps into charge glides, just a little bit faster than just hopping up the stairs. Save a couple seconds over the stair set. So it's actually cool that we did the categories back to back, because you can, if you remember Spike in 100 Egg, we watched Nerf and I do it, you'll see Spike in this category, and it's going to seem a lot different. Maybe, if you're observant, it will seem different. So Spike won't shoot as much, he won't be as aggressive, and if Spora is low on health, then he'll get fodder drops, and he'll only have to hit Spike 6 times instead of 9 times, 2 per face. So it's a much better fight in this category, in my opinion. Not just because it's easier, just it seems to flow a lot better. Like, the shorter amount of time you have to spend in this fight, the less can go wrong with Spike's positioning, because he can like get stuck at the edge of the arena and then everything's really inconvenient. In this category, that doesn't really happen that often, but in 100 Egg it happens quite often.
Good Spike fight.
So the reason it's different is this game has adaptive difficulty that's based on specific eggs that you pick up, where I won't get into the technical explanation, but there are some eggs that if you pick them up, it raises a value in the game, and if you're at a certain threshold of that value, or maybe it subtracts the value, but if you're at a certain value in the game puts you on a hard mode, and you stay there for a while. And you can go to like there's a global difficulty and a local difficulty based on how many times you die or fail challenges. So in this case, we're just still on easy mode because we haven't really picked up that much, and the only hard mode egg that we picked up before Spike was Buzz. And now we picked up Spike, and so now we're in hard mode.
to Miss Bentley.
So one difference between versions, Spora's on version 1.0 right now. There are many differences, a few of them relevant to the run. One of them is there's no Spike is Born cutscene on version 1.0. That saves time just in loading time. But the evening lake boundaries are actually lower on version 1.0 as well. And so you don't have to hover and you can really get out of bounds wherever you want in the evening. More convenient and it's faster. Not sure exactly how much it saves, but probably about a second. So the seals in the background that are throwing snowballs, they're part of checkpoints. So the escort missions always have certain checkpoints that you have to fulfill. The Sergeant Bird ones are just more intricate than the other levels, which is why I find Sergeant Bird more interesting. But in this case, the seals are checkpoints, so Spore does have to kill these seals. And the cycles are suspendable, they're manipulable by just taking them off camera. Oh, and then also, I guess worth mentioning, I forgot to mention this in the previous race, but the second gong that Spore just hit, you're supposed to hit that with a snowball, but it's a really easy skip. It almost doesn't seem like a skip, but it saves a couple seconds.
Thanks, bro.
Can't do that spin jump anymore. Used to be able to, can't do it anymore.
Do you use D-pad or analog for it?
D-pad.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I've always, well, I don't know. Nerf has trouble with it sometimes too, and I've never really had trouble with it. And I feel like spin jumps in general are easier with analog. I don't know how true that is because I don't try them that hard, like that much with
could just
D-pad.
dedicate that jump to analog.
Yeah, I find it pretty consistent with analog, and it's not that bad. But when I try with D-pad, it's hard. But that might just be me not being used to D-pad because I don't use it that often.
Thanks for helping.
Nice. That was a good proxy.
Yeah.
See, another dead body proxy right there. He turned around and pivoted into the mammoth rather than hitting the mammoth straight, because then it didn't have to glide as much after the proxy. It's just a small optimization. It was added in a couple years ago. But it makes the level look really cool, in my opinion.
Alright, worst proxy in the game coming up.
Yeah. This proxy sucks a little bit. It's in part just because it saves so much time. In this category, it saves 35 seconds.
Good.
Nice. Good job. So yeah, 35 seconds is pretty hefty for this category. It's a very large time save. To the point that if you miss it, because death abusing to try again saves or loses about 12 seconds. So if you miss it, we just death abuse. If like anyone I think that has under a 26 does that, pretty sure.
Be careful,
So Lost Fleet's pretty interesting in the same way that it was in 100 Egg, where the escorts aren't usually broken in this game. Lost Fleet's actually the only one that is. And so by doing this enemy boost,
that I didn't get.
Yeah, you can break the escort. Since he didn't get it, he just has to go through these checkpoints. So you can use it as a contrast between the 100 egg runs and this. You can see what we skipped, which is just all of these checkpoints that we have to get Crazy Ed through to get him to the end of the level, rather than him teleporting. And after this, he's going to go for Zombie, for the same reason we went for it in 100 Egg, where in this case, he has a better place to do it. We were doing it in the other egg room, but in this case, you can push against the wall of the boat, the base of it, and it makes them death abuse faster. The damage doesn't pull them as high. So you have to explain it again. Essentially, Sparks has a numerical value instead of a color value, 3, 2, 1, 0, and then if you take a hit on 0, the game wraps around, so you can think that it's like -1, and then you can pause in that frame where it's -1, and then pause out of the level, and the game knows that you've died but can't kill you, and so you're in this limbo state that has trouble transitioning between swim state and ground state, among other things. There are other effects. There are some interesting softbox that can happen.
Spyro.
Second try is good.
That was a big one too. It's quite large.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of the things that clears zombie is cutscenes that would normally teleport you. Instead of teleporting you, they clear your zombie and leave you there. So he just hit one of those. After you destroy the last cat wizard, you're supposed to teleport to the end. Instead, he just fell, walked a little bit, that was scripted, and then he had control again, but no zombie. So he's probably going to get at least one frog before Scorch, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, okay. So Scorch is a little riskier in this category compared to 100 Egg. But there's no difference between easy and hard mode Scorch. I think there is a local easy mode that's different, but at least globally there's not.
Place your bets on how many greens right now.
I'm gonna say 2 greens. 2 greens.
2? Okay.
Yeah.
There's 1. There's 2.
All right. Stop right there. Get a red. Go for it.
See what happens. Oh, okay. You might be right.
Did I? Oh, that's great. Nice.
Yeah.
My third eye is always open. I'm clairvoyant. I swear I am.
Oh shit.
So yeah, in this fight, red rockets. You get 50 of them, they do 1 damage. Green rockets, you get 1 of them, they do 1 damage. So red rockets are clearly way better, especially because you can get these spammed double hits really easily. Apparently the green rockets were meant to do double damage. There's a strategy guide that says they do, and the Insomniac developers thought they did. But the fight was really rushed, and so they don't. So it's just an unbalanced fight where you don't want green rockets, and green rockets actually lose about 10 or 15 seconds every time you get one.
Decent RNG, I guess. Sorry.
The one day, excuse me, Seeker. I'm pretty accurate with my waterfall predictions.
And when you had that like one good run, you like predicted the outcome of it.
Spyro.
Oh yeah, the it's gonna be reds and then death. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're in the midnight, and we only have 19 eggs. Spora only has
Okay,
19
that's
eggs.
not what I wanted.
And so we're gonna do this skip. Spora's gonna do this skip. Don't know why I'm trying to tack on my credit. Oh wow.
Yeah,
You
I'm
do
not
all
trying to
life
get the
bottles right
lives.
now.
Yeah.
So he's doing a squeeze proxy that sends him horizontally backward, and then his intent is to slide up the wall, where there's a spot where you can slide up the wall and get a bunch of height from it. The area portals, they bleed a lot, much larger than they should be in a lot of cases. And so the Sorceress's area portal is no exception, and we can just touch a spot in the mountains and we go into the Sorceress fight without ever having to collect 100 eggs and opening the door. How do you know my capture is actually 30 seconds behind? Maybe I'm just thinking 30 seconds ahead. So yeah, this fight is really interesting. North and I both did terrible at it, so it's on your shoulders, Spora. But you can predict cannons with the drops. You can predict the Sorceress is fleeing. You can force tanks down, force UFO skips. It's a very random fight, but if you know how to play it and you play it well, it is a very consistent fight in terms of how long it takes. Um, it's actually pretty difficult to learn everything, but when you learn everything, it's very useful. A lot of information.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
You got the drop at least. I'm assuming you got hit off just now, but
Yep.
yeah. So he aptly showed what the UFO skip complete force looks like. And basically, Agent 9 waits under the tanks, and if you hop off a tank, he immediately starts shooting it down. And so you can space yourself about half of an arena away from
Time.
the sorceress, and then shoot and hop off. And then by the time the shot gets there and hits the sorceress, the tank is already falling, so you get the extra tank. It's a cool strat. Nice job. Yeah, with the game with that icy peak, that was actually a pretty good run. 28:47 with that icy peak.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah, no, that's definitely good. Considering.
Yeah, that icy peak was. Yeah. Oh well. I expected better, but what can you do?
Yeah, no, it happens. And honestly, like other than icy peak, it was a very good run. Firefly
Yeah.
included.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone.